My sister-in-law's bratty son wants to scare the living crap out of my daughter. So this is what I decide to do. I set a plan in motion. You could call it revenge, because she doesn't know how to raise her son, so I guess I'll be the one to teach him the lesson.
Hey everyone, my name's Marion. I usually live alone with my daughter Lily. She's 7 because her father's in the army. Lily and I are close to his family, often joining them for family dinners, even when my husband isn't home. I'd only met my sister-in-law Sasha a handful of times before she permanently moved back to the US a few months ago. I remember meeting her for the first time at my wedding. While we did not particularly bond, we didn't dislike each other either. Given our geographical distance and infrequent meetings, we didn't have the chance to develop strong feelings towards each other at all. She's a single mother to a teenage boy named Luke. She was previously married, but her husband turned out to be an abuser. She fled from the situation when Luke was just a baby, and currently her ex-husband's completely absent from their life now. To the extent that Luke knows very little about him, and Sasha intends to keep it that way. The trouble began 2 months ago because of an incident involving her son Luke and my daughter. Lily has always been scared of ghosts. It wasn't an unknown fact. She slept with the lights on, and sometimes she would even climb into my bed because she thought that there's someone in the closet. It was okay though, it's just given me another opportunity to cuddle with her, as long as she would let me. It was a harmless fear that I could just scare away by hugging my daughter and pulling her under my blanket until it wasn't. When Luke discovered Lily's fear during a family dinner, he would not let it rest. Throughout the meal, he made scary noises to frighten Lily. I attempted to reassure Lily, explaining that it's just her older cousin, Luke, not a ghost. Despite my efforts, I sensed Lily's discomfort with Luke's behavior. At the time, I just dismissed it, assuming Luke was simply having fun and would soon forget about Lily's fear entirely. That's not what ended up happening. Typically, I entrusted Lily to, my mother-in-law's care while I was at work. However, without my knowledge, my mother-in-law left her at my sister-in-law's house for an evening as she had a doctor's appointment. Since my sister-in-law was also out for work, it was Luke who ended up watching over Lily. And unfortunately, Luke had not forgotten about Lily's fears. Luke played a trick, making it seem like he had vanished from the house, leaving Lily frightened and puzzled about her cousin's whereabouts. She searched the house thoroughly and was close to seeking help from the neighbors when she heard a noise coming from the upstairs. Convinced that she had not searched thoroughly enough, she cautiously went upstairs, but Luke was nowhere to be found. This deeply unsettled her, causing fear to grip her as she hesitated to run downstairs, terrified that the ghost might catch her from behind. Terrified, little Lily locked herself in a room, calling out for Luke's help. However, he was hiding in the closet of that room and knocked on the door, scaring Lily further. When she tried to run away, a hand reached out to her leg and she fell. She crawled out of the room and rushed out of the house screaming. When I received a call from Sasha's neighbor, I was overcome with fear and immediately rushed home. I discovered Lily trembling in their living room. While Luke hurried back as he noticed me approaching, he kept insisting he didn't know Lily had fled the house while Lily cried in my arms. As I comforted my shaking daughter and pieced together the full story, I was consumed with anger to the point where I could have lashed out at Luke in the moment. On the other hand, Sasha found the prank harmless and amusing and did not consider it a significant issue. I could tell that even her neighbors did not agree with her. I was seething with anger and left with Lily, hoping that, being home would make her feel safer. Unfortunately, it did not go as planned. She could not sleep for hours and did not even close her eyes voluntarily until exhaustion dragged her down and she fell asleep in my bed. However, that night was not a good one for her. She woke up screaming at 3 a.m., scaring the crap out of me, and I tried to comfort her, even just pacing around with her in my arms, but she remained uncomfortable and could not settle back to sleep. My anger was directed mostly at Sasha for not instilling better behavior in her son Luke. Because Lily did not sleep the entire night, I had no choice but to keep her home from school. Consequently, I also had to take a day off from work. I called Sasha to address her son's behavior, hoping that she'd take it seriously. However, she laughed it off, which only aggravated me further. She insisted that it was all harmless fun for Luke, and I was horrified his idea of fun had left my daughter with nightmares. But she brushed it off, suggesting that I should lighten up, and abruptly ended the call. The second incident was far more distressing. Yeah, that's right. A week had passed since the previous incident, but Lily's sleep was still disturbed. This time, Luke went out of his way to terrify Lily. She was at my mother-in-law's house when her grandmother stepped out to the backyard to gather some vegetables. Taking advantage of the situation, Luke lured Lily into a dark room. Once inside, he closed the door behind her, leaving Lily in a state of panic. She tried to reach for the light switch, but she'd forgotten where it was, disoriented due to her fear, leading to her screaming in distress. Her cries brought her grandmother rushing inside, only to find Luke laughing outside the room. Hearing Lily's terrified screaming and crying, she immediately called for me, but before I could come in, Luke snuck out. Lily was in no condition to be soothed, and I tried to comfort her by hugging her close and telling her that I was here, baby. I would not let anything get her. But she wasn't even listening. She was hyperventilating and wheezing. It was so bad that we had to call a doctor, who gave her something to calm down. The doctor revealed that the scare had given Lily a panic attack. Angry and upset, I tucked Lily into bed at my mother-in-law's house, and she had already fallen asleep. She was also running a fever that just would not go down, even when I tried for hours to cool Lily's little forehead with a damp cloth. I left the house to comfort Sasha, hoping that now she would understand the gravity of the situation and would finally reprimand Luke. Sasha seemed nonchalant, suggesting I should not interfere with the kids' matters, which only fueled my anger. She said that it was just a prank and I was overreacting, and I explained that her son's actions had resulted in my daughter needing medical attention, making it very much a real concern. I firmly told her that she had to address Luke's behavior, or I would have to take matters into my own hands, an outcome she would very much not appreciate. My response seemed to have fueled her anger, and she insisted that I should mind my own business, asserting that I had no right to dictate how she raised her son. She stated that she would reprimand her son if he was at fault, but he clearly was not in this situation. She claimed that he didn't do anything wrong to be reprimanded. I gave her a "Are you serious?" look, horrified at how she did not understand the gravity of this situation, even when I laid it out quite plainly to her. Feeling frustrated by her dismissive attitude towards a serious matter, I threatened that if she would not stop her son, I would make sure nothing went the way she or her son wanted. I promised her that I would make sure that she would regret that her son ever messed with my daughter. Sasha only rolled her eyes and told me that she'd see what I could do and told me to leave. She shut the door in my face, and I had not even had the time to turn around when I heard her call me a certain word. I yelled at her, and I told her at least have the decency to say it to my face. This incident has made me so furious that I will be taking revenge. I know it's petty, and I know that I should be more forgiving. Luke is just 15 years old, but Sasha is a grown adult, and Luke messed with a 7-year-old daughter. He and Sasha are clearly not aware of the lengths that, well, a mother would go to keep her daughter safe. And they would be learning just how far I'll go to teach her and her son a lesson very soon. I don't even, need to ask you any suggestions because I already know what I'm going to do. I know what I have in my mind is messed up and wrong, but Sasha brought it upon herself. How convenient that Halloween is just around the corner. Top comment from the original post states this. Comment number 1. Dang, your sister-in-law sounds like a pain in the butt. Mothers like her raise bad men, and then they act like all shocked at how their son turned out. How they didn't raise them to be this way, but she's responsible for her son's actions. Because clearly she does nothing to stop her son from acting this way. I hope Lily's doing better. Poor baby. I hope Sasha realizes that her son is at fault and actually has a serious convo with him. What he did to a 7-year-old is not okay. He's a horrible big cousin. She might not like it when someone talks about her parenting, but she's a bad mother. She deserves to be taught a lesson so that she does better in the future. I hope whatever it is you have planned on Halloween teaches them to do better. Comment number 2. Sasha sounds more like an ignorant mother than an evil person. It seems she might be insecure about her parenting style. Being a single mother and all. Even genuine concern or advice can come across as a lecture. You visit her doorstep suggesting how to raise her son. I don't know. Maybe you hit one of her insecurities, leading to a poor reaction. I hope you can approach her with gentleness. If you lay out the issue tactfully, she may understand the gravity of the situation and take action against her son. It isn't a matter of taking revenge. You guys should really talk it out. You're practically raising your kid alone too. I'm sure you both can understand each other's struggles. I hope you won't resort to revenge and can resolve this issue through effective communication. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's Marian again. I appreciate the advice that some of you have given me about talking to Sasha instead of seeking revenge. However, it's important to note that Sasha witnessed firsthand the distress her son caused my daughter at her neighbor's house, and she still failed to take the situation seriously. How can you take her side in such a clear situation? Regardless of any insecurities she may have about her parenting, my immediate concern is my daughter. Anyways, it was a Halloween yesterday, but my plan was, in motion for weeks now. I've been talking to Luke every time that we met and just feeding him tidbits of information about his father, Vicky, 42-year-old male. I personally never met him, but I did find him on social media after a bit of research. On paper, he sounds like an amazing man with a big business and a new family of his own. However, I know how horrible he really is, but Luke does not. Vicky was physically abusive towards Sasha. Luke was a baby when they split, and Sasha made it clear to Vicky that she had no intention of letting him anywhere near her son. I've been asking Luke questions about his dad, gradually picking his interest in the topic. He's unaware of the real reasons behind Sasha and Vicky's divorce. He believes it's because Vicky was always working. Seizing the opportunity, I lured Luke and asked him if he'd like to see a picture of his dad. Well, intrigued, he eagerly agreed, and I showed him a picture of Vicky in a business suit that I found on Facebook. A few days later, I asked him if he would like to dress up as his father, maybe surprise his mother on Halloween. He found the idea amusing, and I suggested that we go suit shopping, and he could wear a mask with his father's face on it. He was super excited to play a Halloween prank on his mother. The Halloween party was at Sasha's place, and Lily was not keen on going back to Sasha's house, even though she had been calming down a little over the last couple of days, so I left her with my mother-in-law, who was over the moon about taking her trick-or-treating. I arrived at the party and checked on Luke. He was in his costume, and his mother, dressed in a witch outfit, was downstairs greeting the guest and suggested to Luke that he should give her a good scare when I sent her mother in his way. He was on board with the plan, so I informed Sasha that Luke was having trouble with his costume, and she then casually mentioned that she had no idea what Luke was dressing as, claiming it was a surprise as if we were best friends and we had no issues between us. I followed a few steps behind her. I only heard her scream when she entered Luke's room. She asked Luke what the heck he was wearing, and he casually replied that he was dressed up as his dad. She screamed at Luke to take that mask off, but amidst the commotion, I could hear Luke's laughter. He found it amusing. Sasha, angered, told him he was a horrible son for laughing at his mother's pain. Luke fell silent at her words and left the room when she asked him to give her some space. On the way out, he asked me why she was acting like that. I reassured him that she's probably just in shock that he knew anything about his dad at all, and that maybe we should have taken baby steps. He nodded in understanding and left the party. I entered the room to find Sasha crying on the floor. I asked if she found the prank amusing, and she did not reply. Just looked at me with fear in her eyes, and I reassured her to calm down, emphasizing that it was merely a prank and she was overreacting, as she had said when it was my daughter being tormented by her son. I informed her that I would be waiting for an apology. I left her on the floor and returned to get my daughter, and I hope she learns her lesson and she apologizes to me and my daughter. Update number 2. Hey everyone, it's Marion again with another update. It has now been 2 weeks since I scared Sasha, my sister-in-law, through her son Luke. A few days ago, I ran into Sasha, who still had not apologized to me or Lily. During our encounter, she gave me the cold shoulder and simply remained silent. Luke played a mild prank on my mother-in-law, and it did not harm anyone, but Sasha had no words for Luke. I wasn't sure if she had talked to Luke about the situation or not, so I asked Luke about his mother's reaction, and he mentioned that she said nothing to him. She claimed that it had only shocked her. I was frustrated that it had not affected her much, or she was possibly hiding it better. Desiring a bit of acknowledgement or reaction from her, I goaded Luke more in the upcoming days, hoping to witness her true feelings. Luke began asking me questions about his dad. I explained that I did not know him personally, and consequently had no answers for him. Even his grandmother, with Sasha living far away, had no info. I emphasized that his mother could be the only one who could provide answers to this question. He's a curious, stubborn kid, so you can imagine how persistent he became. In the following days, he began asking Sasha about his father's whereabouts and what kind of person he was. Sasha did not want to reveal how horrible of a human Luke's father actually was in front of Luke. She often compared him to the devil himself behind his back. Sasha continued to dodge her son's curious questions. However, behind her back, I'm, encouraging Luke more and more to ask even more questions about his father to his mom. This'll teach her how to, some pranks can harm people. Yesterday, Sasha showed up at my house to tell me that she knew exactly what I was doing. I played it nonchalantly as I could, and she laughed in my face for orchestrating such a crude prank, but reassured me that it did not bother her at all. She expressed her indifference to Luke bringing up Vicky in conversations again and again, claiming that she did not care about Vicky at all and wasn't scared of him. I told her that I was glad that it did not bother her, and she simply responded by telling me to stay in my lane, insisting that my opinion did not matter, despite her claim that talks of Vicky didn't bother her. She warned me to stay away from her son in the future. I questioned why she would care about my conversation with Luke if the topic of Vicky did not bother her. She accused me of manipulating her son, to which I replied that I'd love to see what she could do about it. I then shut the door in her face and called her all sorts of names through the door, just like she had done to me weeks ago. I can see that she has not given up on her pride and won't be apologizing. However, I also sense that Luke's questions are having an adverse effect on her, even though she's hiding it from me. I'll wait for her to realize the impact of her not reprimanding her son has had on my 7-year-old daughter and hope that she'll eventually apologize. Update number 3. Hey guys, it's Marion again. I have a major update. It's been a few more days and Luke has been pressuring his mother to talk about his father, who was physically abusive towards her, although Luke is not aware of it yet. Luke tells me that Sasha's been staying away from him recently and she's been working longer hours and he rarely sees her. He also revealed to me that she broke down once when he mentioned his father. I told him that it was an indication that she was about to break and reveal information about him. This gave Luke hope, and I was just hoping that he would increase the pressure of Sasha even more. Yesterday, I received a call from Luke and he was freaking out. Sasha had started crying when he brought up Vicky again and had not stopped for the past 10 minutes. He was scared because Sasha could not breathe, and I reassured him to calm down and told him that I would be there as soon as possible. So I took my time getting into the car and driving to their house. When I arrived, I instructed Luke to go to his room. As I entered the kitchen where Sasha was curled up on the floor, wheezing just like little Lily had been, I rolled my eyes and poured her some water. She didn't take the glass and asked if I was happy about seeing her like this. I reminded her that it was just a prank, much like she had said when my daughter had been in the exact same situation as her. I told her that she was the one who brought it upon herself, and my baby girl had gone through exactly the same thing because she did not think it was important to rein in her son. So, I informed her that my daughter had not slept through a single night since her son's little prank. The panic attack that she was experiencing now was the direct consequence of her ignorant actions and behaviors. Well, I shared details about my daughter's panic attack and seizures, explaining that they occur every time she's left alone or has to enter a dark room. I emphasized that she still had time to make amends and that she could just simply apologize and reprimand her son for causing so much fear to Lily. I reassured her that I would talk to Luke if she just apologized to my baby girl. Unfortunate for her, she did not do that. Instead, she definitely told me to go to hell. So I left her shivering on the cold kitchen floor without any remorse, but not before I warned her that I would increase the stakes. Her eyes widened in fear at that, and a sense of satisfaction washed over me at witnessing such a reaction. I informed her that I had plans worse than what I had already done to her. I don't feel happy, per se, that I have to do such things to teach Sasha a lesson, but I would do anything for my daughter. Any mother would. Update number 4. Hey everyone, it's Marian again. I've managed to teach my sister-in-law a lesson, and she finally understands why reprimanding her son, who took pranks too far, was necessary. It's been 2 weeks since I left Sasha on the floor, having a panic attack. I wasn't kidding when I threatened to increase the stakes of this game. I had plans and I put them into motion immediately. I got hold of Luke and asked him if his mother did not want to answer his questions and if he would like to meet his father and demand answers from him directly. He was over the moon about this suggestion, and I simply told him that there was only one catch. He had to ask his mother if his dad could come visit them at their house, and I informed him that I knew where his dad worked and that maybe I could call him and ask if he would be interested, and he just needed to get his mother's permission. I knew it was a bold move, but I was committed to making sure Sasha swallowed her pride and truly learned a lesson. If she believes scaring a little kid into having panic attacks is just a bit of fun, I'll ensure she feels the exact same way as my little Lily. Luke promised to ask Sasha about it tonight after dinner, and I instructed him to provide a detailed explanation to her about how I would make it all possible, hoping she would be more understanding towards this cause. I went over how he should explain to her that if she isn't willing to answer his questions, Luke's dad can just come over and answer them for him simply. I didn't have to wait long to see the consequences of that request. While putting Lily to bed, or at least attempting to, the doorbell rang. Lily insisted on coming down with me, not wishing to be left alone even for a minute, so I took her with me. It wasn't a surprise when I found Sasha on my doorstep in tears. She cried on my doorstep, confessing how she had been having nightmares about the devil himself, Vicky. She apologized for being so rude and nonchalant. She acknowledged that she should have been more empathetic towards little Lily. Making promises, she pledged to do better and vowed to reprimand her son. All she asked in return was for me to stop manipulating Luke into tormenting her like this. I'm not a monster. I made a promise to talk to Luke only if she and her son stayed far away from me and my daughter. Sasha, in desperation, promised that she would do anything for me to stop. I thought I would feel satisfaction at hearing an apology from Sasha, but instead I just felt pity for her. She did have a poor hand dealt to her in the form of Vicky, and I exploited it. At least now Luke would not play harmful pranks on Lily, and all I had to do was talk to Luke and make him understand that Sasha did not like talking or hearing about his father. Update number 5. Final update. Hey guys, it's Marian with what I think will be the last update. It's only been a month since my sister-in-law Sasha apologized and, for being unempathetic and nonchalant towards her son playing pranks on my daughter. I'd promised to talk to her son, and I did so immediately after Sasha informed me that she had reprimanded Luke. She had told him to be more considerate towards people and informed him that Lily had had a panic attack and ran a fever due to his pranks. He had come over to apologize to Lily on her insistence. The next time when we met, I fulfilled my part of the promise and told him that I'd found out that his father was not the best person in the world. Maybe not knowing about him or talking about him was the best thing to do. Initially, Luke was not thrilled, but I explained that bringing his father up hurt his mother because it reminded her of how awful of a man he was to her. So that's why she had these panic attacks when Luke would persistently bring her up. He reluctantly agreed to never bring up his father again. I haven't interacted with Sasha ever since. We don't even interact at family dinners, preferring just to sit far, far away from one another. Luke was not played any pranks on Lily ever since. Lily, too, has been doing better, and I've been trying to dispel her fear of the dark. You know, by sleeping with her in the same bed with the light off. It's taking time for her to feel comfortable, but hey, I think we're making some progress. At least she isn't scared of being left alone for a few minutes anymore. Well, that's it for the update. I guess we're all trying to move on from such a terrible situation. It was not fun for Sasha or me, and neither of us takes any kind of satisfaction in having caused the other trouble. I think both sides just want to move on and not have to remember this incident.
Okay, let's just cut to the meat and gravy of it. The comment section of this one was split 50-50. Here's the question. Do you think that OP went way too far with her sister-in-law Sasha by mentioning the abusive husband Vicky and basically just tormenting her sister-in-law, putting Luke right there up against everything? And I don't know, some people were saying that you stepped too far. All Luke did was scare your daughter. Yeah, that's wrong, but you're emotionally abusing your sister-in-law, using Luke as a pawn in a game that he doesn't even understand about his father, and a lot of people just felt that that was wrong. But about 50% of the other people were totally against that. They were saying, no, this girl deserves to learn a lesson, and this is the ammunition that OP has to use, so use it. I want to know where you guys lay with this one. My name's Mr. Reddito, and I narrate stories every single day. So if you want to be a part of these daily videos, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.